Number 2. I have the absolute value of n is greater than 1. We have to drop those absolute value bars. In order to do that, we have to take what, first of all, make sure it's by itself. Then we take what's inside and keep it exactly the same. N is greater than 1. And then we have to do the opposite of 1, which is -1. Now, when we do that, we're actually multiplying by -1. So we have to do what to the inequality sign? Yeah, flip it. It's a greater than problem. The greater than problem, so it's an or problem. Why don't you wait a little while until I'm done with this. And then we have to graph this. Open or close circle at 1. It's an open circle because there's no negative sign with our inequality. And then we want all those numbers greater than 1, or we want to follow that sign. We're going to shade in the way of the sign. -1, open circle, and the arrow is pointing to the left, so we're going to shade to the left for all those numbers less than -1. Questions? All right, number 4. It's the exact same thing, except this one has an equal sign. Okay? So we're going to take n, keep everything the same. It's a greater than problem. It's actually greater than or equal to, so it's an or. You're going to take n and the opposite of what's there, which is -8. And since I multiplied this by -1, for inequalities, I have to change or flip sign. Of course, they're going to get harder and harder. All right, +8. Closed circle this time because of that equal sign. Follow the sign. Shade everything to the right. -8. Close the circle. Shade everything to the left. And number 5 was your last problem. Okay, keep everything the same. X is greater than 3, or X flip -3. Open circles, there's no equal sign. At 3 and -3, follow the signs. 3 is going to the right. -3 is going to the left. Questions? Okay, so now the problems are obviously going to get a little harder. You're going to have to do more steps to solve these. For instance, number 7, just make sure what you have to do before you split them up, just make sure that absolute value symbol is by itself, okay, that term. Well, we'll get to some problems where you have to do some stuff before split it up. All right, so I have A divided by 5. Now I'm going to put my -5 over here, okay? I'm going to put my +5 over here. So when I go to graph, my negative numbers are here, my positives are here. So I'm going to just flip this around a little bit. So I'm going from 5 to -5, so I have to flip sign. This is an or problem because it's greater than. and everything stays the same on this side. Now I have to solve for A. So here, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5, or 5 over 1. Guys, quiet down. I have A is less than or equal to negative 25, or multiply both sides by 5 here. I get A is greater than or equal to positive 25. Graph these. See, negative 25, I have a closed circle because of the equal sign. So negative 25, closed circle. I'm going to just follow the arrow or go to the left. Here I have positive 25, the closed circle because of the equal sign. And I want all those numbers greater than or just follow the arrow. Guys, quiet down. Quiet down. What? Yeah. Sure, anybody can. Well, what's available? Okay, let's look at number 8. Okay, my absolute value term is by itself. So I'm going to take what's inside, 6x. I'm going to put my negative on this side, so negative 24. I'm going to flip my sign, and then take what's inside, keep everything the same. Now, we've been dealing with, this whole time, we've been dealing with greater than signs, correct? This is not a greater than sign. This is a less than sign. Less than or equal to, we have to use the conjunction word and. Okay? So, I'm going to have to put the word and in between the two inequalities that I have to solve. Okay, I have multiplication between the 6 and the x, so I have to divide by 6, divide by 6. I get x is greater than or equal to negative 4. And because we're dealing with a less than, divide by 6. I get x less than or equal to 4. Okay, closed circle at negative 4. And this is an and problem. Our graphs are going to be in between the numbers. Okay? So I have negative 4 and positive 4. Positive 4 is a closed circle. And my graph has to be in between the numbers. These are the graphs for and problems. Let's do number 10 below it. My absolute value term is by itself, so I'm going to start splitting it up. Also, this is what kind of problem? And problem, it's a less than. So I'm going to take 5 plus p is, I'm going to take the opposite of 8. So I'm going to flip this. And I have 5 plus p. Oh, I put it in the, I took it out of there. 5 plus p is going to be less than 8. Okay, solve for P. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Okay, these add up to 0. I have P greater than -8 minus 5, -13. And these add up to 0. I get my P is less than 8 minus 5 is 3. These are both open circles because there's no equal sign. Add -13 and 3. And graphs are in between the numbers. So there's my graph. Okay, let's do number 12. My absolute value is by itself. So I'm going to split it up. This is a less than problem, so it's an and. So I have -6v is, I'm going to put my negative over here. So I'm going to flip my sign. And -6v less than or equal to +36. Okay, divide both sides by -6. Now, when I divide, quiet guys, when I divide a number or an inequality by a negative number, I have to flip my sign again. Okay, when I multiply or divide by a negative number, I have to flip my sign. So I get v less than or equal to -36 divided by -6 is +6. It's still an and problem. Divide by -6, divide by -6. I get v. I'm dividing by a negative number, so I have to flip my sign. I get -6. So I have a closed circle at 6, and I have a closed circle at -6. It's an and problem, so I'm shading in between. Questions? Let's do a little bit of a harder one. Number 17. My absolute value bars or terms are by itself. It's an less than or equal to, so it's an and problem. So split it up. 10x minus 2. I'm going to go with the negative side here. -72. So I'm going to flip my sign. Gentlemen, quiet. I'm talking. And if you guys don't stop talking, I'm going to have to send you to ISS. All right, both of you go. Go. All three of you go. Go. No. Go. All three of you go. All three of you go. Now. All three of you go to ISS. No. It's 2 and keep everything the same. Solve for x on both sides. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I get 10x greater than or equal to -70 divide by 10. I get x is greater than or equal to, I can divide a negative number, that's okay, but if I'm dividing by a negative number, I would have had to flip the sign. I get -7, and I have to solve the other inequality. Add 2 to both sides. So I get 10x less than or equal to 74. Divide both sides by 10. Now here I'm gonna get a decimal. I'm gonna have to estimate on the graph. 74 divided by 10. It should be 7.4. So I have closed circles at both of these. -7. Closed circle, because it has an equal sign. It's an and problem, so I'm going to shade in between. And 7.4, just a little over 7. And I'm going to shade in between the 2 points for and. Starting with 19 and 20, that's where you're going to have to solve and get that absolute value term by itself. Maybe we'll, no,